When I found out my college fund had vanished, handed over to my brother, I still remember how Dad broke the news. His voice was cold, like it didn't even register as a big deal. Your brother needed it more, he said flatly. That was it. No apology, no explanation. Just that. I didn't say a word. I didn't cry, didn't raise my voice. I just turned around and walked out of the house with the weight of my future crumbling behind me. 3 years passed before I heard from them again. They reached out like nothing had happened. But I still remember exactly how he said it that day. Cold. Final. Like it was just common sense, like he was stating a weather report. Your brother needed it more. That was all he offered when I stood there staring at the empty statement from what used to be my college fund. Years of saving, gone in a blink, handed off to my younger brother, Nathan, like I didn't even factor into the equation. I always knew I wasn't the golden child. That title belonged to Nathan. He could do no wrong in their eyes. Every screw-up, every lie, every failure swept under the rug like it was nothing. They doted on him, praised him, protected him. But this? This wasn't just favoritism. This was outright robbery. I didn't shout. Didn't ask why. I didn't even flinch. I just stood there, clutching that pathetic piece of paper, feeling my plans, my dreams, my entire sense of direction fall apart. Then, without saying a thing, I packed a small bag and walked out the front door. No one stopped me. No one even called after me. And for the next 3 years, not a single call came through. Nothing. I started from the dirt, no college degree, no backup, no handouts. Just raw grit and a deep, bitter fire in my gut that said I was gonna prove I never needed them to begin with. I worked like hell. Long hours. Ugly jobs. I studied every spare minute I had. I scraped together every ounce of knowledge and experience I could find and threw it all into building something that was mine. My own business. My own future. A life I carved out with nothing but my own 2 hands. I thought I was free of them for good. Thought I'd finally put all of it behind me. And then, out of nowhere, they came crawling back. 3 years. That's how long it took me to turn the nothing they left me with into something real. I worked like a man who had nothing to lose. I took whatever jobs I could get, graveyard shifts, double shifts, jobs nobody wanted. When I wasn't working, I was teaching myself everything I could. I made connections. Took chances. Survived on stubbornness alone. Eventually, I didn't just make it, I started to rise. I built that business from the ground up with zero glamour, just grit and faith. It wasn't pretty in the beginning, but I figured it out. Then one day, it stopped just surviving. It started thriving. Suddenly, I had a team. Clients. Real income. Real stability. Everything they denied me, I went out and built on my own. Then one evening, as I was shutting down the office, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. But something made me answer, call it instinct, call it morbid curiosity. Hey, it's Mom. Her voice didn't even sound familiar anymore. After 3 years of silence, it felt like hearing from a stranger. We need your help, she said, voice shaking. It rubbed me the wrong way. I should have hung up. I should have laughed and blocked her right then. But instead, I leaned back in my chair and said, go on. She paused like she was waiting for me to blow up on her. Like she couldn't believe I was actually listening. It's your father, she said finally. He lost his job. We're drowning in bills. The house, everything. We've got nothing left. I let that hang in the air for a second. Then I asked, and Nathan? Silence. Then a shaky inhale. He lost it all. That made me sit up. All of what? I asked. The money, she whispered. All the money we gave him. He put it into some investment. It was supposed to be a sure thing, but... I laughed. I didn't even mean to, it just came out. So let me get this straight, I said. You drained my college fund, gave it to Nathan, and he blew every single dime. We didn't steal it, she snapped, suddenly getting defensive. He had more potential than you, okay? He had goals. He needed the help too. I cut her off right there. I needed that money too, Mom. But you never gave a damn about that, did you?
Silence again.
I could hear her breathing on the other end, probably twisting the phone cord in her hand like she always did when she was nervous. "Please," she finally said, her voice cracking like old wood.
"We have nowhere else to turn."
I leaned in, resting my elbows on the desk, looking right at the phone like I could see her through it. "Well, Mom," I said, slow and steady.
"That sounds like a you problem."
Then I hung up before she could squeeze out another word. I wasn't finished with them.
Not by a long shot. But I sure as hell wasn't going to make it easy. Not after everything they put me through.
See, when you spend your whole life being the backup plan, folks start thinking you'll always be there. Always ready to catch 'em when they fall, even if they're the ones who cut you loose in the first place.
But I wasn't their safety net anymore.
Still, I'll admit it, I was curious.
So I let 'em twist for a bit. No calls. No messages. Nothing.
I could picture the panic setting in like clockwork. Dad pacing back and forth in the living room, probably barking at Mom while she wrung her hands raw.
And Nathan?
Probably holed up in his old bedroom, sulking, waiting for someone else to fix what he broke.
Again. Sure enough, after about a week, my phone lit up. This time it was Dad. I let it ring. Then again.
Third time's the charm, I guess. I picked up.
"Dad."
His voice came through tight, trying real hard to sound calm. But I could hear it, the wear, the stress.
"Son. We need to talk."
I leaned back in my chair, kicked one leg over the other.
"You mean like the last time we talked? When you drained my college fund for Nathan?" Silence. Long and heavy. "I know you're still upset about that." I laughed. Really laughed. "Upset?"
"Dad, upset was 3 years ago.
Now
I'm just waiting to see how long it takes before you start begging." His voice got sharp real fast.
"We're not begging." "Not yet," I said, like I was thinking it over. "So what is it then? A little help? A small loan to get back on your feet?"
"Yes," he said, trying to keep it together.
"Just a little. To hold us over."
"Sure," I said, chuckling.
"With interest. And collateral." "This isn't a joke," he snapped.
"Oh, I think it is," I shot back. "Because if I remember right, when I needed help for school, you said Nathan needed it more."
"So what now, Dad? Doesn't he still need it more?" He sighed hard.
I could practically see him rubbing his temple like he always did when things didn't go his way.
"Nathan is trying, okay? He had a setback."
"No, he had a fortune," I said flatly.
"And he blew it." "That's not a setback, that's just plain failure." More silence.
Then Mom's voice came on, soft and cracking. "If not for us, then at least for the house.
It's the family home. You grew up here."
That house stopped being my home the minute you stole from me." She sucked in a breath like I'd hit her.
But I wasn't exaggerating.
That was the truth. For years, they made me feel like I was second best. Like my dreams didn't matter.
Like Nathan's life was more important than mine.
All my work, all my effort, just tossed aside because I wasn't the favorite.
And now?
Nathan's perfect little world had crumbled, and suddenly they remembered I existed.
"I'll think about it," I said, letting it hang for a second. Dad exhaled, like I'd just thrown him a lifeline.
Good.
Wheel.
But only if Nathan calls me himself."
Dead silence.
Then Dad scoffed. "That's ridiculous. He's going through a lot right now." "So did I said, voice cold.
And nobody gave a damn." More silence.
Then, grudgingly, he muttered, "Fine.
I'll talk to him."
"No need," I said, glancing at my watch.
"He's got 1 hour. If I don't hear from him by then, don't bother calling again." Then I hung up. I wasn't playing their game anymore. They were playing mine. 58 minutes later, my phone rang. Nathan. Right on time.
I let it buzz twice before answering. Well, I said with a smirk.
"Did Daddy make you call?" Silence. Then a deep sigh. "Look, man. I know you're mad." "Mad?" I echoed. "No, Nathan. Mad was 3 years ago. Now. I'm just enjoying the show." He huffed, annoyed. Fine. Whatever. Can you just help us or not? Why? Because you needed it more? I laughed. Come on.
It wasn't my fault, he muttered.
I was trying to invest. And you failed, I cut him off. Just like you failed in school. Just like you flopped at every job Dad handed you. Just like you're failing now.
His breathing grew uneven, like he was holding back tears or rage, I didn't care which.
You don't have to be such a jerk about it. Oh, but I do, I said calmly. Because when I needed help, no one gave a damn. Now. You get to feel what that's like. He didn't say anything.
For the first time in his life, he had no excuse.
Good luck, little brother, I said. Then I hung up. I didn't plan on answering their calls again. But I figured they'd try. Desperation makes people bold.
What I didn't expect was a knock at the door.
When I opened it, there was Mom.
She looked smaller somehow, worn down, older than I remembered. She forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes.
I just wanted to see you, she said, her voice almost a whisper.
I leaned against the doorframe.
No, you wanted to change my mind. She let out a long sigh. Can we at least sit down? I let her in. Not because I wanted to. Because I was curious, just how far were they willing to crawl?
She sat on the edge of the couch, wringing her hands like she was trying to twist the guilt out of them.
Your father, he's not well, she started. The stress, the pressure, it's been too much. I didn't say a word. And as for Nathan, you don't get it. He's always had a hard time. Never had the kind of backbone you've got. We wanted to give him a shot. A shot? I let out a bitter laugh.
You didn't give him a chance, you robbed me of mine and handed it to him like it was nothing.
And what did he do? Threw it all away. Her eyes started to shimmer. We messed up, I know that.
But we're still your family.
Family? I repeated the word like it tasted wrong. When I left that night, did you even try to stop me? When I hit rock bottom, did you reach out? Did you even care?
Her lips started to quiver.
We just assumed, we figured you'd be okay. You were always the strong one.
And look how well that worked out.
I said flatly.
She swallowed, her throat tight.
We're about to lose the house. I gave a little shrug. Then lose it.
Her voice dropped to a whisper.
We've got nowhere else to turn. For a split second, I felt something, maybe pity, trying to sneak in.
But then I remembered all those nights I lay there wide awake, wondering how I was gonna make it through another day. How they'd shut me out without even blinking.
So I got up. That's not on me.
She looked up, desperation written all over her face.
Please, son. I kept walking toward the door. You made your decision. Now you live with it. I held the door open.
She slowly stood, her whole body shaking like she had more to say, but she didn't. She just stepped outside, and when I shut the door behind her, I didn't feel a damn thing.
Not guilt. Not sorrow. Just peace. 2 days went by before my father called again. This time, he didn't have that usual edge. He didn't sound cold, either. He sounded small.
Son, he said, voice rough, please.
That one word, please. The same man who once tossed aside my future like it was trash. The one who told me my dreams didn't matter because Nathan needed everything more. Now here he was, begging. We've got nowhere else to go, he admitted. The bank's taking the house. Your mother's falling apart. And Nathan? I asked.
He's got nothing, he said, barely above a whisper.
I let those words hang in the air. That's funny, I said. Sounds a lot like where I was 3 years ago. Only difference? No one came to help me then. I know, he rasped. We were wrong. I know that now.
I leaned back in my chair, staring up at the ceiling.
Then why are you calling me?
There was a pause.
Then, quietly, because you're all we've got left. There it was. The truth.
Nathan, their golden boy, was no good to them anymore.
And just like that, I mattered again. I nearly laughed. That's not my problem. Son, he started. I already told Mom, and now I'm telling you. You made your choice. Live with it. I let out a slow breath. Then I hung up. Didn't say another word.
And for the first time in my life, I felt free.
I thought that was it.
That closing that door, literally and figuratively, would be the end of it.
That they'd finally get it. Accept the fallout from their choices and fade out of my life for good. But I didn't realize just how desperate people can get when everything's gone. One night, I heard a knock. I almost didn't bother checking. I already knew who it was.
But part of me, maybe the part that wanted to see just how low they'd sunk, made me open that door. And there they were. My dad, looking like life had finally caught up to him, thinner, older, burdened by the weight of his own failures. My mom, red-eyed and broken, her hands wrung together like she was praying.
And Nathan. He couldn't even look me in the eye. For once, he had no comeback. No smug excuses. No arrogant tone. Just silence.
He stood there behind them, eyes empty, jacket way too big like it had swallowed him whole. They looked like they'd already lost.
"We're not here to fight," my father said, voice barely audible. "We're not here with excuses." My mom nodded quick, like she was afraid I'd slam the door. We've got nowhere else."
I crossed my arms and leaned against the frame.
"And?"
He swallowed, throat dry.
"And we need your help."
That hung in the air like fog. I looked at each of them and let the quiet stretch out.
3 years, I finally said.
3 years I clawed my way out of the pit you shoved me into.
Not one phone call. Not one check-in to see if I was even still breathing.
My mom flinched like I'd struck her.
"But now?" I exhaled. "Now that it's all falling apart, you show up?"
Nathan's voice came out soft, like he was scared it might crack.
"I'm sorry." I tilted my head. "What was that?"
He swallowed again, shoulders slumped.
I messed up. I lost it all.
And I know I don't deserve anything from you.
But I'm sorry."
I studied him for a long moment.
He didn't look like the Nathan I remembered.
The brother who never paid the price for anything.
The one who always needed more, and got it. This guy?
He looked like someone who'd finally been hit by life.
And for a second, just a second, I almost pitied him.
But then I remembered those years I spent in the dark. The nights I worked until my hands throbbed.
The moments I thought I might not make it. And that tiny bit of pity? It vanished.
"No," I said, plain and firm.
My mother gasped. "No," she whispered. "No," I repeated, stepping back inside. "You needed me now, same way I needed you back then. And just like you turned your back on me, I'm walking away." I started to close the door.
But my dad caught it, his eyes wide, desperate.
"Please," he said, voice cracking. "We'll do anything. Just, help us."
I looked him straight in the eye.
"Live with your choices, Dad."
And for the last time, I shut that door in their faces.
I didn't turn around. I wasn't going to. After that? Nothing. Not a single call.
At first, I braced myself, figured I'd get another flood of guilt trips from my mom, maybe some bitter voicemail from my dad telling me I was cold-hearted. But the silence kept on stretching.
And deep down, I knew why. They finally got it. There weren't gonna be any more second chances. No dramatic reunion. No last-minute rescue. I had walked away, and I meant it. For the first time, I was really free.
The next few weeks, I poured everything into my business, into my life. Without their weight dragging behind me, I felt lighter than I had in years.
Then one afternoon, out of the blue, I got a message from one of my old neighbors back home.
Just 5 words.
"Your parents moved out." That was it.
I stared at the screen for a long while, and felt nothing.
No sadness. No satisfaction.
Just this strange, still kind of calm.
They'd lost the house, the one they threw me away for. And now? They were gone. Nathan too. I had no clue where they went. And honestly? I didn't care. Weeks turned into months. Life kept moving, and so did I.
My business was doing better than ever, and for the first time, I wasn't just surviving, I was finally living.
Now and then, I'd think about them. Not in the way they probably hoped.
I didn't wonder if they were okay or try to figure out where they landed.
I didn't carry guilt or regrets. When they crossed my mind, it was only as a reminder. A lesson burned into me. Some people just don't deserve your loyalty. Then, one evening, my phone lit up with a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it. But curiosity got the best of me. Hello?
There was a pause, then a voice I hadn't heard in months.
It's Nathan. I closed my eyes and let out a slow breath. What do you want? He hesitated. I wanted to say thank you. That caught me off guard. For what?
For not helping me, he said, sounding honest for the first time in his life. For making me figure things out on my own.
That one hit different. What happened?
I asked, not even sure why. After you shut the door on us, Mom and Dad tried everything: begging, borrowing, scamming.
Nothing worked.
They burned every bridge. Eventually, I had no choice but to stop depending on them. I leaned back in my chair, just listening.
I got a job, he said. A real one. It's not glamorous, but it's mine.
And for the first time, I understand what it means to work for something.
To earn it. I didn't say anything.
I used to hate you, he admitted.
For walking away. For not giving me another shot. But now I get it. You weren't punishing me. You were showing me something nobody else ever did.
I let out a quiet sigh, rubbed my temple.
So why'd you really call, Nathan? To say I'm sorry. And to say, I don't blame you. For any of it. That was something I never thought I'd hear. And Mom and Dad? I asked. He hesitated. Still bitter. Still blaming everyone but themselves. But that's not my problem anymore. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. So that's it? I asked.
That's it, he said.
I won't bother you again.
And for the first time in years, I could tell he meant it. Take care of yourself, Nathan, I said quietly.
You too, man. Then the line went dead.
I sat there for a long time, just looking at my phone.
Not upset. Not relieved. Just peaceful. For the first time in my life, Nathan wasn't my responsibility.
And neither were my parents.
They weren't my burden anymore. Just a chapter that had finally, blessedly closed. That call from Nathan? That was the last I ever heard from any of them. My parents never reached out again. No more guilt-tripping texts.
No late-night calls begging for help. It was like they'd finally accepted the truth: I wasn't their safety net anymore.
And honestly, that was perfect. For so long, I thought family meant unconditional loyalty.
That no matter how bad they treated me, I was supposed to stay, to give, to forgive.
But that ain't family. Family's about respect.
About standing by each other, not walking all over someone just because they'll let you. Once I realized they never respected me, walking away stopped feeling hard.
It started feeling right. Life kept moving forward, and so did I. My business grew, my peace grew right along with it. No more looking over my shoulder. No more bracing for their next ask or guilt trip. I was free.
One evening, I sat in my apartment, city lights glowing outside my window, and I thought back to that night 3 years ago, the night I walked out without a word. The anger, the betrayal, the weight of all those years, it was all gone now.
Not because I forgave them. But because they just didn't matter anymore. I had one. And them?
They had to live with the choices they made.
Just like I had. And that? That was enough.